Ladies and gentlemen, we ask for those that are standing to please be seated. If you have a cell phone or pager, if you could turn it to the silent mode. Officiating today is Hazan Fortune Belilos.
The Jewish people respond to death with 3 words of blessing. In English, the words mean, "Praised is the judge of truth." Let us begin our service with the wisdom of our tradition. I invite you to repeat these words of blessing after me. Praised is the judge of truth. Baruch Dayan Ha'emet. Adonai has given, and Adonai has taken. Praised be the name of Adonai. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. Who knows pain and all its parts? Who restores all broken hearts? Forms darkness and light, creator of peace and strife, who sits on the judgment throne, clothed in mercy that alone, who sees all and knows, yet forgives and lets go. Just who will heal my broken heart when I fall apart? One that I long for, like an ocean with no shore. Will you tell my soul who will make me whole, and promise that I will not break down anymore? Mi hayah v'yeh, mi memit o mechayeh, poteach yadayim, matzmiach knafayim, umi yerapeh libi, אל מי אני מתגעגע כמו ים שאין לו חוף, רק תגיד לי מי יחבק אותי ויבטיח שאני לא אכנע בסוף. Shortly, you will hear Chazan Benjamin Warshawski in a beautiful rendition by David Brandhandler of Esa Einai. Chazan Warshawski has aptly referred to Carol, Gittel bat Ephraim ubesala, as indomitable. What does that mean? It means impossible to tame or subdue, staunch, resolute, strong-minded, determined, courageous, lion-hearted, intrepid, fearless, unshakable. And she was all those things. The Yiddish name, Gittel, means little good one. She certainly was little, and oh, so good. She loved to remind us all that she used to help the rabbi and her father roll the Sefer Torah in preparation for Shabbat, long before women were ever called up to the Torah. She defied norms of yesteryear whenever she could, yet always respected Orthodox boundaries so as never to offend. She had the highest moral standards and expected others to live up to the ideals of derech eretz and common decency. She was generous and hospitable. She and Walter, alav hashalom, raised a most loving and remarkably inclusive multi-generational family, embracing each individual's special gifts and proclivities. She learned to love dogs, snakes and spiders not so much, but always praised and encouraged all of her grandchildren. Quite the conversationalist, she was also an exceptional interviewer, full of empathy and compassion. She was so smart and resourceful that she could always think on her feet and often came up with innovative solutions to save the day. And not least of all, she was a connoisseur of chazones, chazanut. And that is where we interfaced over the cantorial arts and their performance. Carol dedicated her life to supporting Jewish causes, from the Decalogue Society to JNF, to Torah Fund, to Sisterhood, and to Ezra Habonim Niles Township Jewish congregation. She loved being in the Weinberg community at Gisdwitz, and we extend condolences to her many, many friends there, especially her mealtime table mates, Marilyn, Ray, Jean, and Jill, and to all the staff who loved and cared for her. Before we hear from those who knew Carol best, Chazan Warshawski will chant David Brandhandler's haunting Esa Einai, which was a favorite of Carol's.
I will lift my eyes to the mountains, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, who created the heavens and the earth. Esoin ayin el harim, me'ayin yavo Ezri, Ezri me'im Adonai, oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yitein lamot raglecho, al yanum shomrecha, hinei lo yanum velo yishan, shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomerecha, Adonai tzilecha al yad yeminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeko, v'yareach balaylo. Adonai yishmorecha mikol ra, yishmor es nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzeischa uboecha. Me'ato me'ano
I'm going to ask each speaker to identify themselves and their relationships to our beloved Carol Strauss, Gittel bat Ephraim ubesele. So I cede the pulpit to the speakers, the esteemed speakers.
So I'm Joel, Carol's son. First of all, thank you for everyone being here. I just also want to thank my brother and the rest. And the rest of the family for everything. They took on a lot since I couldn't always be here. Okay. So what can I say about Mom? You know, as everyone knows, community was very important to my mom. You know, she'd been involved in everything, especially the synagogue, probably as long as we could remember. Everything from being president of the sisterhood, being a member on the shul board, to publicly causing grief to my grandfather, who was also on the board at the time. So yeah, she had her moments, but you know, no matter what, you could always count on Mom being on the phone, connecting with people left and right. As I put it, is Mom was the center of all the yentas. You know, when I was in high school, middle school, Mom started working for JNF. She worked there for 17 years and made a tremendous difference in fundraising for Israel. She went around to all these different synagogues, whether they be Reform, Conservative, Orthodox, wherever she could get in on a Sunday morning to speak, to raise money, to sell trees, she did. And I can't tell you how many times she dragged me along to help carry the cases of the blue and white pushkis that were passed out. Mom was responsible for getting planted thousands upon thousands of trees in Israel to make it the green, lush space it is today. In high school, Mom took me to Israel for the first time. And we toured all over that great state. And in those 10 days, I probably learned more about the state of Israel than all the years that I was dragged to Hebrew school. It was just an amazing trip. It's where I started to learn my love for Israel, because I was able to connect with it, and I've been able to pass it on to my kids. It was also the path that started me of becoming more Jewishly observant. Mom was extremely supportive of my religious journey, and as I started a family, she supported the idea that we send our kids to day school and get that education. She was also very excited when I told her the boys were going to go do a gap year in Israel and learn in yeshiva between high school and college. She wasn't quite happy when Noam went because it was COVID, but you know, she was happy he went, had that experience. So after Mom was let go from JNF, because she was doing her job too well, and she showed up, the executive director, who was brand new at the time, was bringing more money than anyone else. So they let her go. Mom went on to Decalogue, where she was executive director and helped plan their events, run that organization for many years until she retired. But one of the things Mom always told me about she really enjoyed was there were these weekly lunch and learns, a couple times a week, where various rabbis from the community would come in and, speak about weekly parsha or something, or different topics, that would relate to people. And she always sat in, and she loved that. Mom and as everyone knows, Mom knew almost just about everybody in the Jewish community that was important across all these different organizations. And the Jewish community really greatly benefited from Mom's love of the community, of Judaism. She never really spoke too badly about some organizations, but others she was very supportive of. The last number of years, Mom was at Gidwitz, and she got involved in there pretty quickly. As saying goes, Mom never stopped butting into places where she wasn't always welcome, but she put her foot in the door anyways. And at the end of the day, she's going to be a force to be missed. So, thank you. Next.
Good morning. I am Sam Straus, Carol's grandson, and I'm here to celebrate our grandmother on behalf of all of her grandchildren. She was a proud German Jew, deeply connected to her heritage and faith, and she carried those values with grace throughout her life. Our grandmother was a woman of tradition, love, and community. She created a home filled with familiarity, laughter, and good conversation. Because if there was one thing Grandma loved, it was a good chat. She always had something to say, a story to share, a question to ask. She was an intelligent woman, deeply engaged with the world around her, and always checking in on her friends and family. She had more to give, more to share, more to say, and while we feel the weight of her absence, we also carry with us the countless memories she gave us. One of those places where those memories were made was at the lake house, where summers were spent making unforgettable memories. Our grandpa took great pride in his home and boat, waking up at dawn to clear the front of the house from gnats, hose off the boat to make sure it was spider-free, and make sure everything was just right for our grandmother and all of us. The boat itself bore her name, the Princess Carol Ann, a testament to the love he had for her. Days were filled with go-karting and horseback riding at Elmer's, meals at Sportsman's Chalet with its walls and ceilings lined with dollar bills, and peacocks greeting us at the door. And of course, no visit was complete without ending the night at Kathy's for Blue Moon ice cream. Judaism was the heart and soul of our grandma's life. She took great pride in passing down her traditions to us, making sure that with each year we learned a little more. Every Passover, she would host a Seder, preparing her signature orange chicken dish, guiding us through the Haggadah, and making sure the children searched for the Afikomen. When it came time for our bar mitzvahs and weddings, she made sure we had everything we needed, from talit and tefillin to Kiddush cups and Shabbos candles. It was her duty to take us to the Jewish bookstore. She wasn't just passing on traditions. She was instilling in us a sense of belonging, a deep connection to who we are. In the later years of her life, when she moved to Gidwitz, she didn't just settle in, she became an integral part of the community. The people of Gidwitz became fast and true friends to Carol, even taking interest in her kids' and grandkids' lives when we visited for meals. She found her breakfast, lunch, and dinner ladies, took her front row seat at services, and joined the building's board. When Passover arrived, it was only natural that they turned to her to oversee the kitchen, ensuring kashrut was followed and that the seder was paced just right. To capture the essence of our grandma in a single word or phrase is nearly impossible. But as we reflected on her life, a few words stood out: spirited, passionate, strong, involved, dedicated, and of course, she loved to gab. We will miss her terribly. Her presence, her intelligence, her unwavering dedication to family, friends, and faith. Her communities will not be the same without her. But we are so lucky to have had the time we did, to have created memories that will stay with us forever. We will never forget the way she would say our Grandpa Walter's name, the ever-present hint of purple in her wardrobe, the watch that was always on her wrist, and the feeling of love and belonging she gave to us all. Grandma, thank you for everything. We love you. We will carry your traditions, your strength, and your love with us always.
God looked around his garden and found an empty place. He then looked upon the earth and saw your tired face. He put his arms around you and lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best. He knew that you were suffering. He knew you were in pain. He knew that you would never get well on earth again. He saw the road was getting rough and the hills were hard to climb. So he closed your weary eyelids and said, "Peace be thine." It broke our hearts to lose you, but you didn't go alone, for part of us went with you the day God called you home.
There is no replacing a person of wisdom. There are mines for silver and places where gold is refined. Iron is taken from the earth and copper is smelted from the rock. But where can wisdom be found? And where is the source of understanding? There is no replacing a person of wisdom. אשת חיל מי ימצא, ורחוק מפנינים מכרע. אשת חיל מי ימצא, ורחוק מפנינים מכרע. פתח בלב בעלה ושלל לא יחסר. פתח בלב בעלה ושלל לא יחסר. What a precious find is an Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. Her worth is far beyond rubies. Her husband puts his confidence in her and lacks no good thing. She's good to him, never bad, all the days of her life. She opens her hand to the needy and extends her hand to the poor. She is clothed with strength and splendor. She looks to the future cheerfully. She opens her mouth with wisdom. Her tongue is guided by kindness. She oversees the activities of her household and never eats the bread of idleness. Her children come forward and bless her. Her husband praises her and says, "Many women have done superbly, but you surpass them all." Charm is deceitful and beauty vain, but a God-revering woman is much to be praised. Extol her for the fruit of her hand. Wherever people gather, her deeds speak her praise. Before I chant the El Maleh, I would like to sing a version of the 23rd Psalm. Adonai roi lo echsar bino teshe yarbitzeini al mei menuchot yinaleini nafshi yishovev yancheni behemaglei tzedek yancheni b'maglei tzedek leman shemo gam ki elech behegei tzalmavet lo irara ki ata imadi shiftecha umishantecha hema chamuni taroch lefanai shulchan neged zorerai dishanta vashemen roshi kosi revaya ach tov chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai kol yemei chayai v'shavti b'feit Adonai leorech yamim. I invite you to rise now for the El Maleh. El Maleh Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hamtzeh menucha nechona תחת כנפי השכינה במעלות קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת גיטל בת אפרים ובסלם שהלכה לעולמה בגן עדן תהא מנוחתה. אנא בעל הרחמים, הסתיריה בסתר כנפיך לעולמים. וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה. ונאמר אמן.
You may be seated for a moment. This concludes the funeral service here in the chapel. The interment will take place at New Light Cemetery in Lincolnwood. We ask for those that are driving in procession to have your headlights and hazard lights on while in procession. It's raining outside. We're going to try to take it nice and slow to the cemetery. We ask that you drive as close to safety that permits to the vehicle in front of you, and please do not speak or text on your cellular phone while you're driving to the cemetery. At the conclusion of the interment, the family will be coming back to the funeral home here, where they're going to be sitting Shiva until 2:30 p.m. And it'll be Saturday evening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Straus Residence, 3605 Crestview Drive in Long Grove. That information and the information for charity contributions that families asked for those who want to participate is on the service folder that you received when you arrived or on the website that you joined the Zoom today. The following individuals have been asked to act as pallbearers: Brittany, Sam, John, Ilana, Rebecca, Josh, Noam, and Todd Jaffe. If we can have everybody please rise and the pallbearers please come forward. We ask everyone once you have left the chapel to please go immediately to the vehicle so we can get to the cemetery in a timely fashion.